Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Sherif
You got it.
Germayel.
I mean, it was close,
Germayel.
but that Gmail, close.
Germayel. Germayel. Okay, I
It's not the
had no
most
chance on
common
this one.
name,
Sher-
so you're kind of
Yeah.
forgiven there.
Okay, perfect. And Sherif is the CEO at Trufla Technology, which is based in Calgary, Canada. So, Sherif, thank you for joining me today. We are recording on June 14th. This is, I think, the third or fourth episode that I'm recording from my new temporary home base in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Super excited to be here. Uh, and it is June in Calgary for you. I actually visited Canada for the first time. I have been to 70 countries and had not been to Canada until about 3 weeks ago. I got to spend a day, well, I got to spend 11 days in Vermont, and I got to spend a day in Montreal, and I loved it. So I'm assuming that the weather in Calgary right now is similar and just kind of like a beautiful spring weather
It
kind of thing.
is. It's beautiful, but it's a little smoky. I don't know if you've seen in the news and in some of the newspapers where there's all this smoke that's making its way from Canada
I,
into the U.S. That's us.
I was at InsurTech
Yeah.
Insights in New York last week, and I wasn't checking the news, and basically like I go in at like 7:30 a.m. and I do interviews, I do magic for people, I do a bunch of stuff, and it's like it's a really beautiful venue, but it's like downstairs, so there's no windows, and then I come outside at like 2 p.m. I don't even remember why I came outside because the day wasn't over, and the sky was yellow, and I had no idea what was going on.
Now you know.
It was the
Now you
craziest thing.
know. I mean,
So I
Canada's
can
one big tinderbox right now. It seems like there's fires all over the place. I mean, I look outside and it is a little bit hazy. It's a little smoky, but I mean,
all right.
that's just what we're
Well,
dealing
well,
with.
hopefully it hasn't affected
No,
you
no,
personally too
we're
bad. Um, Perfect. So Sharif, we always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is
all
Trufla
right. So
Technology?
this little tech company out of Canada with the weird name. The one thing we always get asked is, what does Trufla actually mean? The word Trufla, and I will say, you know, kind of live on this podcast, the name was born in a drunken moment in Mexico under the influence of tequila, which is kind of the greatest inspiration for companies. And the word Trufla actually means disruption in Icelandic. So disruptive technologies is kind of what the heart of it, and that's what we've been out to do. So Truflo was born out of a brokerage that I owned.
Are you
No, no,
Icelandic
no. I
or
mean,
like
I'm Egyptian. My roots are from Egypt. So the furthest place.
so you don't speak Icelandic?
No,
You just
no,
happen to
no.
like
No,
like
you
the
could
word
go
Trufla.
into ancestry.com or 23andMe, and there's zero Icelandic in that.
So you just happen to choose one of the smallest, least spoken, and hardest languages in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. I mean, I can thank Google for that. You know what does disruption mean in different
Perfect.
languages? And that was the word, and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. Let's just run with
Perfect.
that.
Perfect. Okay, so I really like this for future founders. The whole like grab an animal or a fruit name and maybe take or a verb and take all the vowels out because we're cool. That's kind of played out. Let's do this one. Yeah, choose what you want to say and then Google how to say this
Yeah,
in every language and choose the one you like. I love it.
we
Great
actually
thinking.
almost
Thank you.
got our first choice on this. Actually, was fu in another language, and we had to be very. That would have been it would have been disastrous, and yeah. So TrueFlow was what we went with. It kind of just worked out. So, who are we? What do we do? We're a tech company. I try not to use the word insurtech, but we're a tech company that focuses on technology for brokerages. We focus on distribution of insurance for brokers and agents. It was born out of a brokerage. I owned a brokerage in Canada, and there was no technology available for what we wanted to do. And I ran a very successful brokerage. We were actually the fastest growing brokerage in Canada. during our growth years. We were growing at a pace that had almost been unheard of in the industry north of the border. And it was largely on the back of digital capabilities. And when other brokers started seeing what we were doing, they would call me up and say, "Hey, what you guys are doing is kind of cool. Can we do that as well?" And so the company was kind of born from there. I've actually since sold the brokerage and just focusing on the tech side of the world. But we focus on how to get brokerages to acquire customers, which is a really challenging thing in the insurance space, and then how they fulfill the order and manage the clients, and then how they service the clients afterwards. So the tech covers the entire life cycle of an insurance policy. We work with 4 of the top 10 largest brokerages globally, with some technology or others. We operate out of 4 countries, 5 countries actually. So Canada is our home base. We have clients in the UK, in the US, in Australia, and soon to be adding New Zealand as well. Everything from web-focused tech to acquire customers to quote bind and issue systems to self-serve portals and claims capabilities. And we also play heavy in the AI space as well. Real AI, not just kind of smoke and mirror, slapping the word AI on there just because, you've got Chat GPT built in or something. No, we actually have one of the larger databases in the insurance industry, and we've started to build out real intelligence around rating, around fulfillment, around servicing of clients. So that's kind of us in a really quick pitch.
Okay, so there's a lot
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there. Okay, so very broker
Yeah.
focused. Okay, so in my world in the U.S., and I have never been a licensed PNC agent or broker, but in my world in the U.S., we use the word agent and the word broker and the word agency and the word brokerage kind of
Yeah.
interchangeably. So when you say broker, I'm assuming you mean any independent agency that is any insurance agency that is not State Farm, Allstate, Farmer. That any independent agency that sells
More than one
one
product.
company's
That's right.
insurance.
That's exactly it.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. And when you say you're already working with 4 of the top 10, you don't mean that Aon, Willis, Marsh, and A. Gallagher are running their business on Trufla. You mean that they're using some
Yeah,
Trufla
that's right.
products?
So many of
Perfect.
those
Perfect.
that you mentioned use our tech in some form or other and are building on top of that now.
Okay. Perfect. 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 Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So, okay, which way to get at this? Okay. So, okay, everything from uh, web quote and binds, self-service capabilities. Okay, so quote and bind is one of those things that sounds
For
very
sure.
simple, and it doesn't appear to be very simple. I'm not a tech guy, right? But you would think that like this would be simple, and yet it seems really hard to do. Maybe because the carriers are running 40-year-old systems, which they're investing in heavily. Okay, but the self-serve capabilities, those are big. Those basically, okay, and this is Tony's opinion, but basically, I'm pretty sure the agents and brokers are never going to go away. They own the customer trusts them. Uh, Many insurtechs and many traditional carriers attempted direct models, and basically everybody came around and everybody wants to use brokers because it's just very, very hard, not only to grow, but especially to grow
For sure.
profitably without brokers. Okay, so the brokers are staying. The problem is for a broker, if you're AJ Gallagher uh, and you have business with 1,000 different carriers, it's very hard to let the customer self-serve, right? Because, like, yeah, you can have a really cool system yourself. Not saying they do, but you could. But how do you integrate that system with 1,000 carriers in the back end? So tell me about the self-serve capabilities. How can your technology help independent agencies and brokerages provide a self-service
So
model
you're going
to
to
their
open up a whole
clients?
can of worms,
Oh
you're going to
yeah,
open up a
oh
whole
yeah.
can of worms here. So
Let's take
let's
one.
just say, so where we are in Canada, so we actually started our business on the self-serve side. A lot of people don't know this, and we
Okay.
do claim this. We actually built the very first agent or broker-facing mobile app and portal, kind of self-serve mobile app and portal in North America. Our first version of this was actually launched in 2011. Um, and it was originally something that was kind of done on the back of a napkin. We wanted to do it for our brokerage. We did it, and then it kind of caught fire and went from there. But in Canada, it worked really well because the way the Canadian market works is the data exchange from the carriers to whatever in the US you guys call them AMS systems, we call them BMS systems in Canada, but the broker
Interesting.
management systems versus agency management. There's,
I learn
there's
something
the
every day. Thank
interchange.
you for
There's the
telling me that.
interchangeability. Um, in Canada, that it is not owned by a company, and it is kind of owned by the industry, and all the carriers download all of the policy documents and the data through this data exchange into the various systems. So you can tap into it and capture all of that data. Where in the U.S.
Okay. So
it's
it's
not.
dominated by Epic and
Yeah,
Vertafore and
yeah.
Ivans,
Which Ivans is owned by
and it's all
Apply.
private, of course.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
continue.
I mean, I will say that in the in terms of some of these larger companies, whether it's Vertafore or Applied, um, Applied specifically, we're not liked very much. We're kind of enemy number one. Um, be-
Hold on, okay? This is getting really, really, really interesting. Okay, so they haven't bought you out yet. They've bought just about everybody else out.
no, no, they haven't, and we keep kind of hammering at them. And I'm going to choose my words very carefully here. I'm
So
not out
hold
to
on. Uh,
disparage anybody, but
hold, hold on. For the listeners, before we start recording, I always tell the guest, this is not live. So tomorrow morning, if you say something you shouldn't have, let me know and I'll cut it out. This is the part that's gonna get cut out tomorrow morning.
I'm
Anyway, go
not.
ahead.
Look, let's just say that we're doing some fascinating things and really trying to reimagine how a broker or an agent acquires a customer, how they work with that customer, and then the self-serve piece, which for us is actually kind of that's the big piece because that's where the rubber really hits the road with the customer. It's really easy to just sell a policy, but how do you manage that client? How do you touch that client more frequently? I mean, we've gotten to a point in our world, even with the self-serve, where our clients are able to send out push notifications in the event of cat events. They're able to, start an FNOL process and get it into the brokerage extremely fast. They're even able to, we're about to launch this shortly, they're even able to enable their customers to buy additional products through the mobile app without having to interact with the with the broker or the agent because there are certain segments of products that the premium is too low even for for an agent to make it worthwhile for them to quote an issue that it's easier for the client to do. So we're trying to create a world where brokers and agents can engage with their customers in the most forward thinking and seamless ways, and even offer, kind of the magic word omni-channel experience to the customer, and being able to offer them the ability to engage with the broker how they want, buy the products how they want. I mean, I wrote an article a few years ago that I've repurposed a couple times that was titled, "Dear Broker, You're More Like Amazon Than You Think." And it was designed to compare an insurance agent or a broker to big tech companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Uber. And when you break it down and you really understand the commonalities of what made these tech companies so big and so powerful, brokers are actually very simple. There's a couple of pieces that we're missing along the way, which we're now trying to solve for. But a consumer wants to deal with a broker. We're very bullish on brokers and agents because they offer choice. They can reach the masses. They can offer something that a unique market, a single market cannot. But they just need the tech and the experience to be able to match up. And
Agreed.
that's what we're doing.
100%. I'm a carrier side guy, gone insurtech recruiter. Have never worked a day of my life in a brokerage, although my girlfriend did for 6 or 7 years at a very very large one. Uh, but I'm a believer. I agree. Like everybody's tried to figure out direct, and nobody can figure out how to do it profitably. Uh, the brokers, yes, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the independent broker space. Uh, okay, so tell me about the customer acquisition piece. So how do your tools help in the customer acquisition part of the journey?
What we've learned over the years is that you can have the greatest internal tools. It quotes, it binds, it issues, it does amazing rating, and it serves you a cappuccino at the end of the process. Great. But if your clients can't actually find you and they can't get to your site, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter how good the pros. You're not going to sell anything
Look,
anyhow.
I love the interview
Yeah,
cappuccino idea. Like it took a while for me to get it,
yeah.
but
I
that's
mean
pretty
that's
funny.
it, you can.
Continue.
It's the greatest process, the greatest online experience, and you want to do all this. But if you don't know how to acquire a client, if you can't get them to your site or have technology to facilitate the acquisition of that client, whether it's through programs or group programs or benefits programs or whatever it is, then it's ultimately going to fail. And the disadvantage in this industry, it doesn't matter if you're a direct writer or a broker or whatever, it is the most expensive place on earth to acquire a client. It is the most competitive online. It costs the most. I mean, insurance is kind of it. So you've got to do it really efficiently, really fast. And our focus has been on the online world. What most companies do is they will deploy a site and it'll go live, but over time that site actually degrades in value. And so they're spending all this money trying to do digital marketing and SEO and driving leads and whatnot, but they don't realize that their site is degrading in value, so it becomes a boat anchor for their brokerage or for their digital marketing efforts.
Why? Why does it
Because
degrade?
over time the technology doesn't get updated, the web is evolving, and the web is a constantly evolving thing. Images get better, experiences change and whatnot, so it degrades. And Google is constantly keeping up with what's modern, and if you're not keeping up with it, it's a death. So we built a platform that allows a brokerage to build their entire experience on the platform, but we manage the performance and call it the searchability of the site in the back end, so it will never degrade. So as things are advancing, the site performance, the site technology, everything is in the background. You don't have to rebuild the site every 2 or 3 years to keep up with it. We're maintaining that. So think of it like GoDaddy for insurance, but specific to insurance, with insurance specific modules, with the ability to brokerage to manage their own site. You don't need a developer. It's highly customizable, and it works for everything from a tiny brokerage up to the largest. That's what it was designed for.
I would say, without having seen the product, I would say think of it like Wix
That's
for
yeah.
insurance. Because GoDaddy hosts,
That's yeah,
right?
yeah.
Word is great, but it's complicated. Wix is
For sure. And we've built it on the base of the platform is WordPress, but we've built our own kind of customizable platform on top of it, which allows the brokerage to manage every part of that website on their own without having to have any kind of web experience. But we're managing the performance. So anybody who's put their site on our platform has seen lifts in the triple digits percentages of traffic and leads that come into their agency or brokerage.
okay. So let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. Everybody that has gone on that has you running their website has seen at least 100% growth in all those things.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. And we've
Amazing.
got all the stats, and we've
Okay.
got over 100 sites on our platform that are constantly being updated, and performance the manage we manage the performance of it. Even things whenever we build out new features and new capabilities on the web platform, we don't have to update each website individually. We build it once and we push it to all the sites, so everyone's getting updated and they're constantly staying maintained and whatnot. Like that's what it was designed for.
There are roughly 30,000 agencies and brokerages in the US. I am surprised that you don't have 20,000 of them asking you for quotes tomorrow. Like, you get what I'm saying? Given what you're saying, again, I haven't seen it in action, right? That's just the nature of my podcast. Uh, let's play
Sure.
devil's advocate. Which which brokerages should not try to work with you guys?
Any brokerage that doesn't want to grow. If you're not
What
interested
if
in
I want to
growth, don't work
grow?
with us.
Okay. What if I want to
Yeah.
grow, but I don't want to change any of my processes? It's worked for the last 50 years.
Well, you're getting opportunities in, but you're not going to grow. Because at the end of the day, what
Okay.
ends up happening with a lot of the, and so this is where it went to the second part of call it the process for us, or the second platform for us. Brokers can drive in leads, they get in opportunities, but then they don't know what to do with it when it comes in. They might have some spreadsheets that manage some opportunities. They'll send it to some producers by email so that they can manage the opportunity. But the reality is, if you're not properly managing those opportunities that come in, they're going to go to the next site. They're going to go to the next client, and it's going to be gone before you think. In fact, we've done measures on this, and there's studies that have been done on this. If you don't get in touch with a client somehow, even if it's by an automated message, within 5 minutes, consider them gone. five
Within
minutes.
5 minutes.
It doesn't
Okay.
have to be a person touching them, but even if they put in a
Yes, no,
request
no,
and they
I'm,
get an automated message saying, "Hey, thanks, we got it. Someone will get in touch with you," whatever. Most people don't
yeah,
even do that.
yeah. I'm glad that you immediately said at least an
Yes.
automated
Oh yeah.
message.
Some
Okay,
some sort
because
of a
yeah,
touch
five
point,
minutes. That.
letting them know that something is
Okay.
happening in the background. Within 5 minutes, if that's not happening, consider that opportunity gone, because for them it's gone into the abyss. And we live in a world where instant gratification is needed. They can buy things instantly online. They can get what they want instantly. If I don't hear back quickly, I'm assuming that it's gone into the black hole of the web and I'm moving on to the next company, unless you've
Yep,
told me
I
you
agree
got it.
completely. I agree completely. I'm a fan. Uh, what is Amplify by
So
Trufla?
Amplify is a conference that we started a number of years ago. Um, and because there wasn't much available in Canada in terms of um, technology that was broker facing, that was focused from brokers and agents. So we just started Amplify, and we brought in a bunch of other vendors that were focusing in our space, and it kind of grew from there. And then COVID hit, and we went to a digital format. But now we're bringing it back in person. But it would be the largest kind of broker tech conference in Canada, and we bring in all types of technologies. Our focus this year is on AI, so we're even bringing in Amazon to come and talk about AI and all things data and AI, and how it'll affect the insurance world and brokerages in particular. And it's intended to really immerse an agent into all things technology, um, especially for their brokerage, because there's a lot of noise out there. There's a ton of tools, there's a ton of things available out there. So kind of narrowing it down into here's what is good and what will actually help your brokerage grow is what Amplify is all about.
Okay, and this is the first year back
First
in
year back in
person.
person, yeah.
How many people are you expecting?
Um, Ours it's a little smaller and more intimate, but um, 250 attendees, and we're
250 is something to
We
sneeze at.
are about 70% sold out already. Um, so yeah, it's a popular one.
Okay, yeah, 250 is nothing to sneeze at, especially if the right
Yeah,
250 people are there. Looking at the speakers, there are some good speakers. I see
yeah.
Margot Giles
Iris, yeah.
of Iris. She's fantastic. Uh, I see Emma.
Emma.
Emma is getting to a point where she doesn't need a last name anymore. I think I've ran into Emma. I think I've seen Emma more during the spring conference season than I've seen my girlfriend. Uh, and she's fantastic. Yeah, you've got some really good speakers. Um, it looks really, really, really,
Yeah,
really,
we
really
even take
cool.
it. We've got
Uh,
Tommy McDonald, who's the director of Marshberry, which would be one of the larger M&A consulting firms out of the U.S. brokerage consulting firms. They've done a presentation which I saw it once. I fell in love with it, and I just wanted it, for the brokers. That was titled "Insurance Brokers: The Greatest Business in the History of Mankind," and backed it up with data and everything. And I came out of this presentation like,
it,
wow.
it, do you have the
I
video
don't,
of
I
that?
don't, and it was like I was
Ah,
invited to this to hear their CEO John Wepler speak, and he did this presentation, so I just wanted it. So Tommy McDonald, who's a director with Marshberry, is going to be speaking, giving this presentation because it's brilliant. And when you start understanding the brilliance of an insurance brokerage and you bring in technology to the table, it's powerful. It's something we're pretty excited about.
that is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And for Amplify, how much are the
So
tickets?
tickets are $6.99 Canadian, which means it's about $20 US. After the I'm just kidding.
Oh, you kept a really straight face of that. I
Um,
love it.
yeah, so it's $6.99, and it's 2 days of total immersion in all things tech, broker, sales, marketing, AI, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so who should
Anybody
attend?
who's a broker owner or manages the operations of a brokerage or manages the technology of a brokerage or agency, this is the conference for you for sure.
Only in Canada, or U.S.
U.S.
brokers would
brokers
also
would for sure
benefit?
benefit as well. It's kind of all things tech for brokers or agents.
Fantastic. I didn't even know we were going to chat about the conference. I didn't give you a warning, and this sounds pretty freaking cool. Um, this has been really, really good. Sharif, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel that we barely scratched the surface as to what you guys are doing, because you're doing a lot. But very, very, very cool. I look forward to have you back in the future to kind of continue the conversation. Uh, but thank you so much for coming today. Mostly we're out of time, and I've got another recording here in a few minutes. Uh, when this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn, and I will also tag the company on LinkedIn. So for the listeners, if this sounds interesting, you should go check out Trufla's website, which is, give me just a second,
Truefla.com.
because I had accident. Trufla.com, Trufla
Betcha.
dot com. Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thanks for having me, Tony. I really appreciate it.